my Friday afternoon yoga. Welcome everyone. I'm Michelle Chua. You'll want to grab a strap or something like a long rope or fabric if you have any tightness in your hamstrings for our physical practice today. Let's start in child's pose for a moment, bringing your feet together near the rear edge of your mat and separate your knees at least hips width apart, perhaps even wider if that feels more comfortable in resting your pelvis down to your feet. If you lower your forehead, you can even put a prop like a yoga underneath if it doesn't meet the ground easily, or cross your forearms and make them a pillow. Just allow a moment here to arrive, mind and body, into this next chapter of your day or evening. Observing how you're feeling in different ways, emotionally, physically, energetically. And acknowledging all of that in your state of being. What perhaps might you be seeking through this practice of yoga today? Maybe clarifying your intention. And allow some deeper breaths to feel space within your body. Maybe in your rib cage, maybe in your chest, maybe down to the pit of your belly or your lower back. Let the breath sound out through your mouth, any kind of sound that just feels like a cleansing release. Drawing the breath in slower and drawing the breath out completely. And then slowly walking your hands back to meet your knees, press the ground and gently roll the spine upright as you take a deep breath in. Lifting your head, find a way to sit comfortably so that you can firm towards the ground with your left and right sitting bones. You might even sit on top of a pillow or a block, shift around a moment and get evenly grounded. And then lift up through the center of your spine. Feel the length of it, rolling the shoulders a few times back and down, allowing your chest to broaden as you take deeper breaths. And then keep the lift of your spine, the groundedness of your pelvis, and just begin to rotate your spine slowly. In what's called Sufi circles, a few rounds in one direction, changing it up in size. A few rounds in the opposite direction as you feel ready, or just organically finding some motion around your lower back and pelvis, your hips, areas we'll be focusing quite a bit on today. So in the past few days, we've been exploring the theme of empathy and compassion, both for ourselves and for others. And today, I wanted to dwell on self-acceptance. So we all have an inner critic within the mind, right? That ego talking to us here and there throughout the day. But how do we make peace within ourselves despite that talk? And sometimes we might not agree with that talk, but we act upon it. Well, self-compassion is a necessary tool, as I believe, for self-acceptance in breeding that inner peace, which we can then share with others. So I decided to look up a few quotes about self-acceptance, and here's what I found. This one is from Brennan Manning from the Ragamuffin Gospel. He says, when we accept ourselves for what we are, we decrease our hunger for power or the acceptance of others because our self-intimacy reinforces our inner sense of security. We are no longer preoccupied with being powerful or popular. We no longer fear criticism because we accept the reality of our human limitations. Once integrated, we are less often plagued with a desire to please others simply being true to ourselves brings lasting peace. We are grateful for life, and we deeply appreciate and love ourselves. This one's from Lao Tzu. Because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince others. Because once one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. Because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her. And this one's from Veronica Tugaleva. She does a lot of work on self-acceptance. You work so hard to fix yourself, but maybe what you need isn't another tactic, another book, another expert, another 5-step plan. Maybe you don't need to be fixed. Maybe what's really holding you back is the idea that you need to be fixed. Maybe you just need to let yourself play instead of always making yourself do homework. And another one from her, the last quote. What if each time you experienced an emotion, you acknowledged it, accepted it, and became curious about its message for you, instead of trying to make it go away or make it last longer? Imagine how this could change your life. Imagine how heard, loved, and honored you would feel if you really listened to yourself. So as you sit tall here, closing your eyes, allowing the deep breath to accentuate a lift and lengthening up through your spine, up through your heart space, through your crown. This poise of confidence, this poise of being proud to be in your skin. Continue breathing deeply as you close the lips. And then bring your hands to your belly. Feeling the belly expand as you use the diaphragm, expanding the lungs too at full capacity. Then hollowing the belly gently in equal length as the in-breath. So you might continue with sustaining the breath like this, in and out of your nose, closing the eyes, or as we've been practicing for a few weeks, Vastrika pranayama or bellows breath, which has a kriya or action to go along with it. I'll demonstrate real quick. We bend the elbows apart, make hands like this, sit tall with the shoulders relaxed, continuing to breathe just through the nose, using the diaphragm. We inhale, raise the arms and spread the fingers, and we exhale, rebend the elbows and refist the hands. And it's rhythmic like this. Full in and out breaths. So I'm gonna set the timer for 1 minute. Do what you can, and let's try bellows breath. Ready? Begin. And relax, breathe naturally, keeping the eyes closed, and just allow a moment to observe the effects of that pranayama. And as you close the lips, let's come into Ujjayi pranayama, softly narrowing the back of your throat as you equally sustain your breath in and out through your nose, thus creating a soft, whispering sound. We use that sound to gift the mind something to steady its awareness on and help stay present. So continue to listen to your breath as you gently open your eyes. And let's come down to all fours, hands and knees. So setting your knees right under your hips, set your wrists a couple inches in front of your shoulders, spread the fingers wide and flat, broaden the shoulder blades, broaden the chest, look forward on the ground, and find a little lift in your belly so you're activating the lower abdomen. Flexing your right foot, keeping the right knee bent, begin to extend the right leg back, turn it open to the right, circle it back in, just rotating the right thigh bone at the hip socket. All the while trying to balance the weight evenly on both hands as you keep both arms straight. Engage the lower belly to try to keep that left hip from sliding over to the left side a bit more. And just a few more deep breaths, rotating in the opposite direction too. So that flexing of the right foot is just to keep that right knee safely aligned as we open up the right hip a bit. And from here, turn the right outer hip down, squaring the two hips. Inhale, extend the right leg back and up, wheeling your chest up like you would in cow pose. Then exhale, bend the right knee towards your nose, press down with your hands and dome your spine. 2 more times. Inhale, extend and lift, arching the upper back. Exhale, contract the belly and round. Inhale, reach, lift. And exhale, contract. This time, lightly step the right foot outside of your right hand, coming into lizard lunge. So both hands are inside of the right leg. Scoot the left knee back another inch or two so you can offer more stretch into the top of your left hip and thigh. And then see that your right knee is not over bending past the heel, but it's right on top of the heel, facing the same direction as the middle toe under it. And then continue to flex your right foot, stabilizing the knee. As you use your right hand just inside of your right thigh, close to the hip, to gently encourage the right thigh to splay open, so that you're leaning on the outer edge of your right foot, but not collapsing into the outer ankle. Now you could continue to press that right thigh open, maybe even look behind you, rolling that right shoulder back, drawing the left shoulder blade down the back, or you could place both hands forward, perhaps come down lower onto your forearms, whether you want to prop them up on blocks or come down deeper. And here you also have the option, depending on how much movement you did before now and how you're feeling in warmth in your muscles, to bend the left knee and perhaps backstroke your right arm and catch hold of the top of your left foot, gently bringing your left heel closer to your left glute. And if that doesn't feel feasible right now, don't worry about it. You're already doing a lot here. We're mostly focusing on opening your right glute, outer hip and thigh. And let's take about 4 more deep breaths. Feel the space along both sides of your neck, open throat, broad open chest. Shoulder blades are released down onto the back ribs. And you're gently scissoring your right hip back as you're lengthening your spine forward down the midline of your mat. 1 more deep breath in lizard lunge. And then releasing that back foot if you have hold of it, place both hands again inside of your right leg on the ground. And let's come on up so that your left hip is directly above left knee. Start to straighten the right leg, flexing the right foot still. Plug the thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket to try to keep both hips evenly facing forward as you equally lengthen both left and right sides of your torso and neck. Broaden the chest. Keep a slight lift in the lower belly, the feeling of a flat back, and see if you might be able to fold little by little, breath by breath, on the inside of your right leg. So this is a little different than our traditional half split or Ardha Hanumanasana, in that the right leg is further out to the right, keeping in that position of lift. So let's take 3 more breaths. Engage the front muscle of your right thigh here, giving support and lengthening to the back of your right thigh, your hamstring. Look just ahead of your fingertips. Broaden the chest. One more deep breath. Now begin to step back into downward facing dog, where you can just take a few breaths if you like, pedaling your feet, shifting around, or holding still. In downward facing dog, feel the space across the tops of your shoulders. Broaden that by rotating your triceps or outer upper arms towards the floor, while still firmly grounding between your thumb and index fingers. Lifting the hips high, and let's set the knees back down. So knees right under hips, wrists a couple inches in front of the shoulders. Broaden the chest and look forward on the ground. Slightly engage your lower belly. Then flexing the left foot, extend the left leg behind you. Bend the knee and turn open at the hip, and just rotating the left leg. A few breaths in each direction. Notice, as I've noticed happening in me right now, if your right hip is beginning to shift over to the right, compensating, see if you can hug that right hip closer to the midline of your body and mat, while trying to equally place weight on both hands. Continue to lengthen the sides of your neck by looking on the ground ahead. How's your breathing? A lot going on here. And then square your hips. Inhale, extend the left leg back and arch the upper back as you would in cow pose. Exhale, contract your belly, rounding your back as you keep the arms straight. Press the ground away with your hands. Inhale, re-extend, arch the upper back. Exhale, contract at the belly and round, doming your spine. Last time, inhale, extend and lift. Exhale, round and lightly step left foot outside of left hand, setting the knee right on top of the heel, knee and toes facing in the same direction forward. Scoot your right knee back another inch or two so you could offer a little more lengthening into the top of that right thigh and hip. Then flexing your left foot, use your left hand on the inside of your left thigh, close to the hip, not the knee, to gently splay your left thigh open, thus leaning on the outer edge of your left foot, but not rolling over onto your ankle. Now, from here, you could choose to look over your left shoulder behind you. Careful not to collapse into that right shoulder or wrist, but spring your weight off the floor and slide the right shoulder blade down the back. Or you could set your two hands both inside of the left foot, or come down deeper onto your forearms on blocks on the floor, in which you might also add a stretch to your right quadricep. If it feels feasible, bend the right back, stroke the left arm, and catch hold of the top of your right foot, and gently bring the right heel closer to your right glute. Still gently scissoring your left hip back, and lengthening your spine down the center line of your mat forward. Let's take 4 more breaths. Releasing the right foot if you have hold of it, place both hands inside of the left foot. Stack the right hip above right knee, and as you flex the left foot, begin to straighten your left leg, lugging the thigh bone back, deeper into the hip socket, while in contrast, lengthen your sternum, middle of your chest forward, as you begin to fold inside of your left leg. Few breaths. So a wide hip opening version of half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. So here, instead of turning out your left leg, think of pressing the mound of your big toe forward and keeping your left knee facing the sky rather than your left wall. About 3 more breaths. Feel the squaring of your hips as they evenly face the front of your mat, and as you evenly lengthen the left and right sides of your torso and your neck. Relaxing the mouth. Listen to the sound of your breath. Nice, and then from here, let's step into plank pose, which will hold for a few breaths. Stacking the shoulders right on top of the wrists. Knees on the ground if you want to add a support there, or legs straight, actively pressing the heels back so that your quadriceps are engaged. Think of creating the feeling of a flat back as you broaden the shoulder blades apart and slide them away from your neck. Feel the lift of your lower belly. Take that feeling of a flat back as we move through Chaturanga Dandasana. On an exhale, glide forward. Bend your elbows back to hug your side ribs, passing through 90-degree bends, then come all the way down. Pointing your toes firmly on the mat, feel your knees not resting on the floor. Keep hugging your elbows close to your sides and breathe in, holding for a few breaths in Cobra, Bhujangasana. Feel the space along the back of your neck as you slide the shoulder blades down, relaxing the face as you look at the floor ahead. Actively lengthening the tailbone towards your heels and firming down through the tops of your feet. Then tuck your toes and with an exhale, press up like a push-up through plank of your choice. Then lift your pelvis back, pressing your sitting bones towards the sky and your rear wall. Again, find that feeling of a flat back, even if it requires bending the knees deeply. Let's take 3 breaths. With very bent knees, look ahead of your hands. At the end of your exhale, lightly land. Feet apart, hips distance, parallel. Pressing the ground or your legs. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward, sliding the shoulders back. Exhale, fold in. Firming down through your feet, inhale, sweep your arms up as you rise, let the palms touch. Exhale them together at your hearts. So we're gonna set the route for a continuous flow, but this first time around, let's establish where we're going, taking a few breaths in each pose. So with feet, hips width apart, parallel, bend your knees and sit into modified chair for about 3 breaths. So as you sit low, feel the curvature of your lower back, not overarching it, but finding that natural curve where you firm the belly in, and then glide your shin bones back. So if you were to look down, you could see your toes. As you relax the shoulders, lift the heart. On an exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward. Plant your hands, either float back to Chaturanga Dandasana or step through plank and lower, taking your own version of your vinyasa. It could include upward facing dog if you practice that. Then meeting in downward facing dog, keeping your hips squared. Inhale, raise the right leg back. Feel the contraction of the belly as you exhale to step the foot forward inside of your right hand, keeping your feet hips width apart, parallel, in a high lunge. Firming down through both feet, inhale to slowly rise into crescent pose. So this first time around, you may want to bend your left knee, and you always have the option of lowering your left knee if you want more support. But using the bend, allow your pelvic bowl to orient upright. So the tailbone is descending, the frontal hip bones are slightly lifting, and the hips are square. You feel stable at your literal center. Now let's take a deep breath in, joining the hands at your heart in prayer position. Turn your chest to the left, dropping your left heel into warrior 2. So here you'll want to slide the right foot a few inches to the left so that you can align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. So as your left leg is slightly turned inward, pointing at the front of your mat, keep it straight and feel the complete turnout of your right leg at the hip. Front knee, middle toe, tracing down the center line of your mat as you bend the knee over the ankle. Then extending the arms wide, open your chest and relax your shoulders. Steadying your gaze, just past the right hand, let's take one more breath in Virabhadrasana 2. Now from here, think of a wide-legged squat. When we're turning out the legs, make sure you do them from the hip socket. So rotate the left leg externally, pivoting the left foot to turn out, and then bring your hands in prayer at the heart again, bending your left knee. Curl your right toes to flex off the floor into Skandasana, a half squat. So you can be as high or low in the pelvis here as your inner thighs feel open. Maybe you're up here, maybe use your hands on your thighs to support your movement. Let's take one more breath, just making sure your knees are turned out the same degree as the middle toe underneath. And it doesn't have to be that turned out. Just make sure they're aligned with each other. Then bend the right knee, curl the left toes up, switching sides, Skandasana, half squat. Turning in the left leg from the hip, let your left knee and toes face the floor in a lunge and lower your hands to plank pose, stepping back to add your own version of your vinyasa. I know in some places like here in LA, it's pretty hot right now, and perhaps you need to stay cool and not take full-on vinyasas. You could replace them with cat-cow or simply go straight to downward dog. Once there, downward facing, keep your hips squared. Inhale, raise the left leg. As you exhale, engage the belly to lightly step the foot inside of your left hand with your feet hips width apart, parallel. Firming down through your feet, inhale, rise up into crescent lunge. So do bend the right knee, at least this first round, to feel that adjustment of pelvic bowl upright. Remember, you could lower the right knee all the way down if you like. Hips squared, stable and contained at the center, long spine, shoulders relaxed. Let's take one more breath, crescent lunge. Then join your hands together at your heart. Turning to your right, drop the right heel and turn your chest to face the right wall, sliding the left foot a few inches to the right to align left heel to arch of right foot. Warrior two. Open the arms wide as you steady your gaze just past the left hand for a few breaths. So the back leg is slightly turned inward. It's straight. The front leg is completely turned out. So the front knee and middle toe are tracing the midline of your mats. Take another breath here. Now begin to turn out your right leg from the hip, coming into Skandasana. So the right knee bends and you straighten the left leg, joining the hands in prayer or pressing your hands on your thighs. Now, flexing that left foot is really helpful in balancing in this pose. Remember to be mindful of your knees, to make sure that you're turning out from the thighs where the knees and middle toes point in the same direction. Then let's switch sides. Bend the left knee, curl the right toes up, Skandasana. Now we're gonna turn in the right leg from the hip, pointing the right knee and toes at the ground and landing your hands down from a lunge, stepping into plank. And then from here, add in your version of your vinyasa. Steady breaths. When you arrive in downward dog, anytime you might feel your breath become choppy and you need to cool off, you always have the option of lowering onto your knees, whether it's a modified downward dog like this or child's pose. Taking things in the way that you need to align with the intention that you came here with. Let's finish off 2 more breaths. At the end of this exhale, lightly land at the top of your mat, feet hips distance. Then inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, sit back in modified chair pose. Then press through all of your feet and exhale, rise up to mountain. Now let's take that same route in a continuous flow. And as you steady your breath and your attention on your breath, letting the body follow, allow it to be a moving meditation. Like you could find a sense of stillness within the motion. Here we go. Inhale, bend your knees to chair. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen forward. Float to chaturanga or step to plank. Add your vinyasa, following your pace of breath. Arriving in downward dog. Inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, step it forward to a high or low lunge. Inhale, rise up, crescent pose. Join the hands, turn left. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Turn out the left leg. Inhale, skindasana, half squat. Bend the right knee, exhale, switch. Place the hands on the floor into a lunge. Lower through plank or add your own version. Follow your pace of breath. Arriving in downward dog, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, step the foot forward to a high or low lunge. Inhale, rise up to crescent. Exhale, turn right into warrior two. Inhale, turn out the right leg and bend the knee, skindasana. Exhale, switch, bend the left knee. Turn in the right leg, inhale into a lunge, stepping into plank. Exhale, lower, or your own flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. This time, taking 3 to 5 breaths, slowing down your breath pace, and just feeling the effects of that movement thus far. We're gonna go one more round now that practice the synchronization in breath and body. Perhaps the mind can find some ease with familiarity. Bend your knees, look ahead of your hands. Bottom of your exhale, lightly land at the top. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees. Inhale, sitting in modified chair. Exhale, rise tall. Now this is your flow. If there's anything you want to add or change up, feel free. And most importantly, go at the pace of your breath. I'm only cueing here. Here we go, last round. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Float back or step back. Keep going at your pace of breath. When arriving in downward dog, inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, step it forward to a lunge. Inhale, rise to crescent pose. Turn left, exhale, open up to warrior two. Turn out the left leg and bend the knee. Inhale, skindasana. Switch legs, exhale, skindasana. Turn in the left leg, inhale to lunge, then plank. And lower through your vinyasa. Last side, arriving in downward dog. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, step it forward to lunge. Inhale, rise to crescent pose. Exhale, turn right to warrior two. Inhale, turn out the right leg, skindasana. Exhale, bend the left knee, switch. Inhale, rotate inward to a lunge, then plank. Flow or no flow, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Slowing the breath down and just being still as you observe the going on in the mind, body, and breath. We're going to take a little detour, a little scenic route here. So inhale, raise the right leg behind you. As you exhale, set the foot inside of your right hand for warrior one. So like the lunge, keep your feet about hips distance, but unlike it, drop the back heel flat. Keep your hips facing forward and inhale to rise. From here, interlacing your fingers behind the lower back, lift your chest and broaden. Taking a few breaths to open up the heart center region. Now feel that openness in your collarbones and begin to loosen the torso forward as you keep the right knee bent. Not resting on your front thigh if that's possible. Scissor the right hip back, keep squaring the hips forward and firm the belly towards your spine. Now look a few feet beyond the front edge of your mat where we're shifting into Warrior 3. Whether you choose to keep your hands clasped, adding that challenge, or lower your hands onto the floor or blocks for more support, or something in between like opening the arms or reaching the arms back, you choose, but as you're ready, shift your weight entirely onto your right foot. Turn the left outer hip down to try to balance the hips, flexing the left foot. Feel the toes facing the floor. You could bend the right knee, similar to how we adjust the pelvis in the lunge earlier, to help adjust the pelvis and to ease any tightness in the hamstring. Last couple of breaths. Nice, we're gonna land in Warrior 2, so cartwheel the arms apart, step it back, facing your left wall, and just allow a moment to ground in Warrior 2. See that your right heel lines up to the arch of your left foot. And then from here, straighten the right leg for triangle. Slide your hips towards the rear edge of your mat, reaching the right hand beyond your right knee, then down. Landing on your leg or just to the right of your leg, perhaps on a block. Keeping the turn out of your right leg, wrap the outer hip under your body slightly. Draw the tailbone towards your left heel as you lengthen the crown of your head towards your front wall. Feel the openness in your chest as you stack your ribs and shoulders. Last couple of breaths, turn triangle. Now we're going to take this blueprint posture into flight in half moon pose. And as you transition, you might find it helpful to place your left hand on your left hip. Steady your gaze on the floor in front of your right foot and bend your right knee, stepping your right hand about 6 inches forward of your right foot and out to the right upper corner. Drag your left foot forward and flex it, lifting that heel off the ground about the height of your hip. Now, can you feel triangle pose within this flying posture, half moon pose? Still wrapping the right outer hip under your body and directing your tailbone towards left heel, maybe reaching left arm towards the sky. We're gonna softly as you can step back to Warrior 2 whenever you feel ready. Bending the right knee and landing for a few breaths. From there, simply step back to downward facing dog and allow 3 breaths, just a moment in stillness to feel in the effects of that sequence. Giving ourselves space to feel whatever needs to be felt is part of that practice of self-compassion we've been doing in the past few days. So from here, inhale, raise the left leg, keeping your hips square. Exhale, set the foot inside of your left hand for Warrior 1. Spin the right heel down, keep the hips facing forward, and slowly rise up. Now Warrior 1, reach the hands behind you. Try switching from the default of what thumb and index finger comes on top as you interlace the fingers. Broadening the chest, lift your heart up, but draw your tailbone downward, eliminating any compression in the lower back. Now, keeping this open chest, firm the belly towards your spine and tilt your torso forward just to hover off your left thigh. Keep scissoring your left hip back as you bend the front knee over the ankle. Sending the right hip forward, look at the floor ahead of your mat. Now you could keep your hands clasped as we shift into Warrior 3. You could reach for the ground or blocks for added support. You could open your arms, reach them back or forward. You decide, but as you're ready, drag the right toes forward and flex that foot as you tilt the torso horizontally, in line with your right leg. Remember, it can be helpful to bend your left knee if you're experiencing tightness in the hamstrings and to help level out your pelvis. Keep the belly firm as you would in plank, and let's take about 3 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 3. Landing in Warrior 2, as you feel ready, bend the left knee, cartwheel the arms, And as you land, align left heel to arch of right foot. Allow a couple of breaths to ground here. Then preparing for triangles, straighten the left leg and slide the pelvis towards the rear edge of your mat, reaching your left hand past your left knee, then down onto your leg or just to the left of it, triangle pose. Wrapping your left outer hip under your body slightly, try to elongate the left side of your torso just as much as the right. So that might mean placing the left hand a little higher than where it is. Couple more breaths in this blueprint posture. So transitioning into half moon, you might like to place your right hand on your right hip to help. Look at the floor ahead of your left foot. Bend your left knee and place your left hand about 6 inches forward and to the left of your left pinky toe. Drag the right foot in, flex it as you lift the heel about the height of your hip, turning your chest completely to face your right wall as you did in triangle pose. Can you feel the resemblance here? Maybe raise the right arm. More deep breaths. Ardha Chandrasana. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. And when you decide, back to warrior two as softly as you can land it. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like nice. Looking strong, everybody. So let's just face the wide width of your mat, keeping this wide stance. Straighten both legs and pivot your feet to parallel. And bring your hands to your hips, preparing for Prasarita, wide-legged forward fold. Roll the shoulders back, take a deep breath in. Keep the spine long as you exhale to fold from your hips. Lower your hands and allow a little more weight to shift forward towards the balls of your feet. Inhale, lift the chest. Keep the pelvis squared. Place the right hand down front and center as I mirror you. Raise the left arm up. Reaching up through the left fingertips, feel the left side of your chest broaden in this final twist for 3 more breaths. If you start to feel that you're rotating your pelvis, to prevent that, think of tacking your right hip further back, putting a little more weight on your right heel as you open the chest to the left. Last breath here. Setting the left hand down, switch hands, keep the pelvis balanced as much as you can, firming the belly towards the lower back. Breathe in and stretch your spine forward, slide the shoulders away from your neck. Breathe out, steady your hips, and keep rotating your chest. Feel the reach of your right fingertips, encouraging broadening your right collarbone from the sternum. 1 more breath. And exhale that right hand down. So let's go into an inversion of your choice. You might opt for this cooler one where you fold forward. You might clasp the big toes. You might catch opposite elbows with bent knees. Or you might add a little heat and come into tripod headstand if that is something that you practice. Or dolphin pose. Place both elbows on the floor and step back like you would in downward facing dog. So whatever your inversion, hold off on shoulder stand and lying on your back for now, because that will be part of our cooler cool down. Just about 4 more breaths. If you decided on dolphin pose, just bring your knees down into child's pose and rest there when you're done. Otherwise, if you're in some kind of forward fold, bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees a lot, and leading with your chest, take a slow inhale to rise up. Nice. Let's meet lying down on our stomachs. So from child's pose, you can simply slither forward, all the way down, face down for a few heart opening postures. We're gonna dive right into bow pose, Dhanurasana, unless you have any issues like chronic stiffness in your lower back, in which that might not feel welcomed. And if it's not welcomed, I invite you to straighten your legs and raise the arms back like this, which is locust pose instead. It also helps to strengthen the lower back. Those of you coming to bow or dhanurasana, bend your knees and catch hold of your outer feet with your hands. Press your pubic bone into the floor as you kick the legs towards straight, while pulling the feet to help lift the knees off the ground. Coiling your chest up, count 5 or more breaths before you release to rest. We're gonna do this twice. So try to keep your knees from splaying apart wider than hips distance, as that helps to traction and support your lower back. Feel the arching mostly happen right under your shoulder blades to help you lift your heart. Relax the tops of your shoulders down and soften your face. All the things I'm reminding myself to do too. So when you do come down to rest, you might like to turn your head to one side and just gently stretch your neck. Take about 3 deep belly breaths. It might feel wonderful to just long sigh out through your mouth, or even flutter the lips, relaxing the jaw. All right, choose your back bend, your last back bend, heart opener. Whether you catch hold of your outer feet and kick up into dhanurasana bow, or locust pose. If you have hold of your feet, you could roll over to one side and give your inner shoulder a deeper seated stretch, and then the other side. And then after 5 or more breaths, you decide when you're ready to let it go. And perhaps you turn the opposite ear towards the ground. Maybe this time you swing the shins side to side, helping to release space in the lower back. A nice cooling pranayama or breath work is lion's breath, where you inhale deeply, open the mouth and eyes wide, and exhaling through the mouth, you stick out the tongue. And traditionally, you also cross the eyes. I guess maybe it feels releasing. I don't know, you don't take it too seriously. So one more cooling breath of your choice here. And then let's slide back into child's pose with the arms extended forward. So active child's pose, further stretching the lower back of the spine. As you extend the arms forward, crawl the hands over to the right, reaching outside of your mat for more lateral stretch into the left side of your torso. Breathe into that left side body, as though your breath could massage it from the inside. Then gently crawl your hands through center over to the left, breathing into your right side body. As you make your way back through center, walk your hands towards your knees, tuck the chin towards your chest, and breathe in to slowly roll up, one vertebra stacking at a time. All right, let's bring the legs in front of you for a nice counter posture. It's a hybrid of 2 postures. So extending your left leg forward, take your right thigh and cross it over the left thigh as much as you can, so that maybe your knees stack down your midline. Now you could choose to keep your left leg straight, flexing the foot if that helps your pelvis to stay more balanced, or see how it feels to bend your left knee and splay the feet wider apart, deepening the stretch into your glutes and opening space across your lower back. So the bottom half of this pose is Gomukhasana, cow face pose. But for the upper half, cactus, bend your elbows apart, and if your right leg is on top, cross your left arm on top. Your left arm on top. So opposite arm on top, opposite leg on top. And then here, either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms, and the arms are in eagle pose. So eagle cow, like a totem pole. Draw your shoulder blades down the back, plug the sitting bones down, and then lift up through the center of your spine. Give you breath. Now you could stay upright, or deepening the stretch in your outer hips, you could hinge from your hips. Bowing slowly, breath by breath. So right after that back bend or a couple of back bends we did, this is to open up the upper back, sort of counter posture. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. So if you're bowing forward, keep firming down to your pelvis as well, grounding as you extend and fold. And when you're ready, begin to lift your chest, inhaling to slowly rise up. Back, stroke the arms apart. Release the legs straight. And just move your legs and arms and shoulders a bit before we switch sides. Let's take the opposite leg on top. Either keep the bottom leg straight, flexing that foot, or bend the bottom knee and splay the feet wider apart. Ground the sitting bones, cactus, bend the elbows apart. And with the left leg on top, cross the right arm on top. Either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms in palms. Then pressing the shoulder blades down, pelvis down, lift up through each vertebra of your spine, your crown. And then you might decide to hinge little by little to your breath. So again, this is Garudasana, eagle pose, combined with Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Let's explore here for 3 more breaths. In the practice of asanas, leading with the chest, breathe in to slowly rise up. How might the practice of self-acceptance be integrated in physical yoga postures? Let's unwind the arms and legs. Shake them out, roll out your thighs, inward and outward. Like listening to the default thoughts that come into the mind. In yesterday's class, I was talking about holding space for how you're feeling. Let's bring the feet together, bend the knees apart. Catch hold of your outer feet or big toes, lift the heart, and hinge forward to bow. You might like to walk the hands to the ground in front of you. Let's take several breaths here. So holding space for how you're feeling, and rather than perhaps adhering to default thoughts like suck it up, the show must go on, kinds of things that make us ignore how we're feeling and just rush through without even giving ourselves a moment to digest it. But what are some default thoughts that come to mind when you're in yoga postures that you feel that you could be more compassionate with yourself with in place of them? I don't know, sometimes self-comparison, like, I used to be more flexible than this, why can't I do it now? It's ways that perhaps we can be more consciously kinder to ourselves. Because we know that in doing that, we are more capable of being kinder to each other as well. All that inner work helps the outer stuff. So leading with your chest, breathe in, slowly rise up. So now choose your cooling inversion. Whether you practice on your back, legs up, maybe there's a wall or a chair that you could lean the legs on, or if you practice shoulder stand, making sure you don't have any neck injuries though, you could lift the legs up, maybe into plow. One day that we broke down shoulder stand, we were actually using folded towels, folded blankets. You want to be sure not to flatten your neck onto the ground when you are lifting the pelvis in shoulder stand or plow. You don't want to put any weight on your neck. So in prevention of that, you want to get the pelvis right above the shoulders. It requires some engagement of the abdomen, using the elbows really close to your side ribs, pressing onto the floor. So your hands are really helping to lift up your lower back. Also, you don't want to turn the head side to side. And you want to tilt the chin back away from the chest, opening space at the throat. So take about 5 more longer exhalations in whatever cooling manner that you're lifting your legs up higher than your heart. Perhaps it's bending the knees into happy baby while grounding the tailbone. Gently transition out of your cooling inversion into a comfortable posture that will help you to make your way down to Shavasana. Maybe you hug the knees in and take a big, loud sigh through the mouth. Maybe you take a fish pose for a few breaths. And then be intentional in how you lay your body to rest, using any props that you might have. What can be helpful if you have tightness in the lower back is to place whether a pillow, a rolled up blanket, or your 2 yoga blocks under the backs of your knees, mostly under your thighs, to support a gentle bend in your knees. Once you make your way into that comfortable position to rest, close your eyes and mentally scan your own body. Notice how the muscles feel, how they've relaxed, all the way up to your face as well. And then consciously let go of controlling your breathing and allow, invite, welcome stillness. We'll be here for a few minutes before our 10-minute meditation. Allow the breath in to become deeper. Open the mouth as you release it. And as you keep the eyes closed, start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Ease into kind, loving movements to awaken your own body. Taking your time, you might like to draw your knees together into your chest, hugging your body close. Whether you rock forward and back or turn to your right side, choose a way to find a comfortable seat. If you're finishing practice here, namaste. Thanks for joining me. Otherwise, let's prepare for 10 minutes of meditation. The focus again is self-acceptance, and it will be a mantra meditation. So as you sit tall and comfortably, you choose to close your eyes or gaze softly towards the ground ahead. Feel the support of what's beneath your pelvis. Physically ground into that support, allowing your spine to lift, your heart space to broaden, sitting tall in your own body. Observe your breath flowing in its natural rhythm, effortlessly. As we begin this practice, remember that the mind has a natural tendency to stray off elsewhere. And when you find that happens, choose an anchor to reground yourself here in this present moment, such as the feeling of your own body breathing again. So as you continue to feel the subtle rise and fall of your breath, bring your mind's eye or attention to your heart energy center, Anahata Chakra, located at the center of your chest, beneath your sternum. If you like, you might place your left hand there. Feeling the breath come and go. Remember that this energy center is that of being open to receiving and giving love, as well as compassion and unconditional acceptance. So we start with amplifying acceptance of self. The second energy center focus today is Manipura Chakra at the solar plexus, located just below your bottom ribs. If you like, place your right hand there. Energy from the center, when it's balanced, gives us balanced willpower and self-discipline to do what's good for us and humanity. It's also where we balance the ego's talk and truly identify with who we really are, beside the default thoughts of the mind and conditioned beliefs. Now again, feel the breath in and out. Our mantras, self-affirmations, will hit upon balancing these two energy centers. And while they're in words shared with me, I invite you to perhaps restate them in words that work better for you personally. So the first mantra, saying to yourself, you might visualize your own hearts. I am good enough am enough. I am good enough. I am enough. And just repeating within yourself the feeling of those words. I am good enough. I am enough. Perhaps the words follow the cadence of your natural breath. Most importantly, find a way to actually mean what you're saying. I am good enough. I am enough. Giving space for what might arise as you continue a few more times with that mantra. I am good enough. I am enough. Now again, feel the breath in. Feel the release. Touching upon the heart, your heart center, your solar plexus. Invite your own way of saying these words. I accept all the parts of me that make me who I am. I accept all the parts of me that make me who I am. I accept all the parts of me that make me who I am. With love and sincerity, last few times. Again, feel the breath in. And let it go. The last mantra. I love myself just as I am. I love myself just as I am. Say it in words that are meaningful to you. As you repeat, feel the effects. As you invite a deeper breath in, Join your palms to meet at your heart, exhaling through the lips as you bow towards your own heart center. Acknowledging that you're doing your best. We are doing our best. Let's close the practice, joining in one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you.